Welcome guys, I'm ULTRAKILL and I love ULTRAKILL, but there's something I don't like about ULTRAKILL and it's the powers, okay? The powers are really much the most annoying enemy in the game. Other than, well, probably Mind Flares, but they come into close second. But like, they're still really annoying, especially Radiant. But powers are like different, okay? They're different. Because here's the thing, they're basically miniatures of Gabriel. They're just mini Gabrielites. And that's what makes them annoying, because Gabriel is very hard to parry, and powers are very hard to parry. And they can spawn in multiple. Like, multiple can spawn, which is the annoying part. If like you're dealing with one of them, you usually can just ignore it. But if you're dealing with two of them, you're gonna have a bad time. Like a real bad time. Like it is not a good time to deal with a power or two. And mixing with the fact of a Mirror Reaper, that is a recipe of pure absolute horror. Because like you're not only dealing with two of the most annoying enemies, and not only that, you now have limited amount of space. And not only that, you went to Rocket Right or go out to like this balance here, you're gonna have like a Coast Guard right at your face, which is annoying, but like it's manageable because, you know, the Mirror Reapers can only spawn in one, but the powers, as I said, can spawn in multiple, in groups. They jump you like it's JJK or something, and sometimes you have Gutter Man shooting at your rocket, so it's gonna be annoying. And sometimes, in the worst case scenario, is when you have 3 powers and 1 Radiant Mind Flare running out at you, and then murdering and ruining your run. That happened to me, by the way, but I'm not really mad at that, because I could have actually saved that if I wasn't such an idiot. But like, at the same time, I don't really mind. But like, yeah, that's still really annoying, because like, they are literally the major reason why a lot of players are not really getting to their old records. I mean, I'm not sure about recently, but like, I think like at the start, post-fraud release, the powers were a major issue in general. And to add on even worse, the powers have voice lines, and as you know, as I call them mini Gabriels, there is a reason why I call them mini Gabriels, and it's mainly because they talk shit, which is annoying. I mean, not for me, because I kind of filtered them out because of the cool music ULTRAKILL has, so I can just ignore it in its entirety. But like with the marking, it kind of makes the powers really annoying. And considering the fact they're loud as hell compared to Gabriel's more serenious voice, I think his voice sounds more calmer, except when he like becomes mad and becomes funny Gabriel. Okay, I'm about to die, but that don't matter. Anyhow, so like back on topic, the powers are annoying, especially with the fact that sometimes they, as I said, they do pair up with other enemies, and sometimes they jump you, which is annoying. And before you call skill issue, you have to remember, I played this game for a long time, and usually I can theoretically deal with powers. You know, they're kind of easy to deal with. You can just go around the edge here, fly around, maneuver around, go to here if you're ever low in health. And sometimes you can just parry them and then you just murder them. Anyhow, so talking more about powers and higher waves, they are a massive problem. That's mainly because of the fact that you're gonna deal with like Radiant Mind Flares, and their Radiant Mind Flares are more common than Radiant powers. So I doubt that I've ever faced a Radiant power before, but I think that it's only the Radiant powers really appear in wave like 80 to 90 to 100. I'm not sure, because I haven't reached there yet, because, well, I've been taking a massive break from ULTRAKILL, so I'm not really primed to, but I did break my old record, I think like yesterday, 2 days ago, yeah, 2 days ago, I broke my record, but I'm getting overhead myself. But like, powers are a genuine problem. At some points, I had to deal with like 3 to 2 powers in the Radiant Mind Flare, and that is like, I didn't even give I didn't even have a reaction. That's how common this jumping is. Like I'm so used to getting tag teamed by the trio of doom and I'm just so used to this. I just annihilated them. But to be fair, as I said, you could theoretically just go out the bounds, go out to like the arena, go around, and then just kill the powers with through parrying and hitting them with that. But that takes a lot of skill and a lot of aim, which I do not have. But at the same time, it's like a 70% chance of happening from me, so it is pretty common for me to kill powers that way, which is a necessary skill, because if you don't know how to kill the powers that way, then you're gonna be pretty much screwed, because they are tanky. Even though not as tanky as like insurrectionists, they are still have a lot of health, which is a major problem, especially if you're dealing with like 10 different enemies, since the powers are your top priority. And with that, you have to kill them. And so, like, that's gonna be... And to add on more points to my hatred to powers, I would like to say the powers attacks are straight up sometimes bullcrap, okay? Their attacks are sometimes the easiest and the hardest thing to parry, which is very weird. And not only that, their attacks are I believe, the second only attacks that sometimes you don't really hit. And there's only one attack where you're guaranteed for like an actual parable hit, but it does so much damage that you have to time it really well, or else you're gonna lose a run, which is usually not worth it, which is the Great Sword. And every other attacks are very hard, and this makes the tactic of just going around the entire area here really useless, because now they can just do that. And with the fact that sometimes you get too close and you just get annihilated. And also, not only that, one of the attacks, Glaive, that Glaive attack can home at you, which means you have a secondary threat to deal with. And you can see here, I got sniped. You see what I mean by the powers attacks are just annoying in general. Okay, oh, look, antenna. And to continue up to my point, the powers attacks are just that dumb. It's somewhat balanced in my opinion, but also somewhat imbalanced, because it's Gabriel, but just standardized as a military army, which in and of itself is slightly annoying, because Gabriel is a difficult boss fight, and Hakira thought it was a good idea to add a little an enemy that acts and almost has the same amount of health as Gabriel. And also, whenever you're dealing with two of them, you have to focus only on the one attacking on you, because the moment you attack the other one, you're gonna have another one attacking you with the Glaive attack. Lovely, isn't it? It's so lovely. I love this game. And to add on the final point about like how much I hate powers, as I said in the previous recording, or something like that, I'm not sure. Okay, why are there so many freaking virtues? Anyhow, that is dead now. Thank God, the miracle's dead. And that's why I don't hate miracles anymore, because they die so easily, they don't even notice. But powers, they don't die. They're like the second hardest thing to kill other than insurrectionists, which is probably the first, in my opinion, because they're tanky and they fly around, and whenever you want to do conduction, they just don't stand there, and so like other things. But this video is about powers, not about insurrectionists. And even so, insurrectionists are not as annoying compared to power. And considering the fact that the powers do a lot of damage, and mixing with the fact the amount of health it has, the move, and the fact it can teleport right by the rockets, in like stopping your rocket riding, and add on with the fact that the powers are annoying to kill by themselves, even if you have like the most optimized technique possible, which is going around the arena and parrying them, there's like a very high chance you're gonna miss the power. So like that's the issue, and you have to waste a lot of resources killing them now because you failed to kill that power. So you're gonna be dealing with little to no resources, and there's a power. And I love this game, and I love this. I was talking about you, but like at the same time, the powers are just annoying to deal with. And as I was saying before I got extremely interrupted by a rude young angel, mixing with the fact that the powers are annoying to kill, do a lot of damage, can teleport, it makes them my least favorite enemy to deal with in the cyber grind. And that's speaking a lot because I hate the Mind Flares the most. And even so, the Mind Flares to me, at least they're like easy to parry. Like the orbs are like free parry attacks, and most of the attacks are easily avoidable in my opinion. Because you don't really need to deal with the attacks. It's like it's very uncommon for a Mind Flare attack to hit you, other than there's orbs. But even so, you're not really going to be dealing with the orbs that often, and usually the laser beams are easily killable and are easily like dodgeable, and the orbs are just free parries in and of themselves. And the fact that Mind Flares are pretty easy to kill in my opinion. Maybe like the third hardest to kill, but like they're easy to kill because they're like little, like what the fuck? They're like pretty much little to no amount of health, which makes them a very okay-ish enemy to deal with, which is just fine. I just hate the Mind Flares back then because they were the only teleporting flying enemy at the time, and with the addition of powers, now there's a second annoying flying enemy. And anyhow, before anyone calls me the brainless, skillless idiot, I have to remind some people I am tired a bit, and also I'm doing commentary while playing video games, which is very annoying because, you know, I can't really focus on the game while talking about the game at the same time, especially on Brutal Wave 35 Cyber Grind. As you can see in one of the recordings, I did die because I got sniped immediately. But that's really about it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like and subscribe. If you didn't, like and subscribe, because if you don't, then, well, I blame it all on the powers because they're the bane of my existence. Anyhow, that's really about it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, I guess, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.